just gonna do this off the top of my head or just in a one-shot thing because I cannot read from a script. At least not right now, since I'm trying to do these style of videos. This is not something I'm skilled in, but I'm definitely not going to speak as eloquently or even articulate most of my thoughts correctly. We are living in a time where people in America are brainwashed with no sense of morality. And it seems like they're okay with being treated as pawns in a game. And that's sad. For me, this is satire. My safe space, I don't know. I can't say safe space. This is just me attempting to do something different to, yeah. Take the events I followed Saturday night after the Knicks Game 5 win over the Spurs. You would think people would be celebrating, creating good moments with people that they're close to and just having fun overall. But maybe other people's fun is different than, maybe Knicks fans' fun is very different than normal people and their version of fun. Hundreds, if not thousands, were in the streets after the game, and they were rioting. I don't know. I'm not too certain about looting, but I really wouldn't put it past them. I think they did at some point, but I could be wrong. This overall should have been a W for New York, and especially since it's been getting a lot of L's recently. I don't know, an L just came to the mayor's office recently, and man, I hate that motherfucker. But yeah, no, the Knicks won, and your idea is to go outside and cause chaos to the point of damaging multiple school buses, lighting one school bus on fire, damaging MTA buses, damaging police vehicles to the point where they're not going to be able to use them. And on top of that, the other type of damage to personal vehicles of the civilians, some of the storefronts. Just why? I don't understand. It makes no sense. If something great has happened, why ruin it with this type of rioting? This is not even fun. It's honestly just annoying for me to hear this shit. And ironically, another sporting event took place the next day, and the sporting event I'm talking about is UFC 250 Freedom. A UFC event that was held at the White House where actual violence took place. You would think something like that is more inclined to happen at an event like this, but in fact, this event was amazing in every way. If you didn't watch it yourself, you missed out on a once-in-a-lifetime thing that more than likely will never happen again. Even for the UFC, this was a big moment, and it paid off. I don't think we will ever have another president that will do or allow an event like this to take place on the White House lawn. The point is, after the event, nothing regarding riots or looting or any damaging of property took place. And I've been trying to look everywhere to see if maybe something happened, but all I can find is just that Sean Strickland was arrested. This motherfucker Sean Strickland, man. He got arrested for, I think, fighting people, if I'm mistaken. And of course there were going to be like fights and crowds and whatnot here and there, but nothing crazy. There was not a ploy, maybe that's the wrong word to use. There was a plot by certain individuals to use drones to attack people near the event or in the event. I'm not sure, but the FBI thwarted it, and I believe individuals that were responsible for this attempt are arrested, so that's good at least. But according to multiple sources, when it comes to the events that followed the Knicks Game 5, I believe there was a shooting involving a 17-year-old. I believe he or she was shot in the foot. 5 school buses were lit on No, 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 no. I believe one school bus was lit on fire. It says 5 here. 5 school buses were definitely damaged. One was lit on fire. I don't know about multiple. If that's true, then that's crazy. 4 slashing, stabbings. 5 NYPD cars badly damaged. That I have seen, and yeah, that is true. Multiple other personal vehicles were damaged. That is true. A lot of civilian cars were damaged. And on here, it doesn't state that there was a couple cops that were damaged like their property. They were injured by the rioters. I believe one punched the cop, or maybe hit him or her, and then the other cop was hit with a glass bottle. Yeah, insane night for the Knicks fans. That's definitely why I don't watch basketball anymore. Fuck that sport. If I lived in that area where this whole rioting took place, or anywhere near the stadium where the Knicks final game took place, or anywhere near where the Knicks final game took place, I look out my window and my car is being destroyed by these rioters, I'd be absolutely livid. And they wonder why people are moving out of New York, especially the billionaires, the millionaires. That is the fucking reason. And the fact that that thing is mayor. Oh my god. If my car was destroyed in a riot, my fucking Uncle Ruckus would come out more than ever. Even more than when I play MW2. That damage, at least the damage I've seen that these rioters do to the vehicles, the damage that the rioters have caused to especially personal vehicles. If you don't have the right coverage on your insurance, and I'm referring to vehicle insurance, if you do not have the right coverage, you're going to have to pay that out of pocket. Insurance is already high enough as is. In New York City, I believe the insurance is from anywhere from, normally, if you're not stretching the truth, like me, it can be anywhere from $400 to $500 without that type of coverage that covers riot damage and all that. And I believe for me, with my coverage, it would be $100 more if I had, I forgot what it's called, that type of coverage. But yeah, I do not want to be paying that every month. So I didn't even know about this type of coverage, that it was a thing. Like, it's crazy how we have it worked out into our insurance plans, just in case our cars or vehicles, property, whatever gets damaged. That's funny enough. That's funny as it. What goes through a person's mind when committing these acts of violence? And these riots, whatever, are acts of violence. The destruction of people's properties, people are getting hurt. I seriously would like to ask these groups that are, or people that are involved in these things. Maybe it's a video for one day, but honestly, I'm too broke to go outside. But anyways, there have been people online stating that these fans would have done the same thing even if the Knicks lost, and I agree. I believe the day before the Knicks lost to the Spurs, there were people seriously hurt. I believe one Spurs fan got punched in the face, sucker punched by another, unique individual, one of our doctors and engineers, of course. And then there was another video I watched. I believe this guy was Indian. Maybe I'm racist. He was getting pressed for being a Spurs fan. You know what the crowd did? They were trying to light him on fire. One of them had a camera out and recording the whole thing, and they were trying to light this Spurs fan on fire by his hair, while another one was pulling his jersey and stretching it to hell. These types of people do not need a reason to cause destruction. Look at the George Floyd protests that happened all those years ago when I was in college. Holy shit. All that peaceful protesting wasn't justified back then, and it still stands today. Many political leaders were inciting calls for violence, all because of a black person dying. I shouldn't say dying. All because a black person died. Even though this black person had domestic violence charges on him, on top of that being drugged out of his mind during the whole police altercation, resulting in his death. And trust me, there is more black on black crime that happens than police homicides, on black people. Or I don't know if I worded that correctly. I'm not that experienced in researching statistics. I'm getting better with it as time goes on when I make these videos, because I'm more or less curious what actually happens. And it is wild how I think black people make up roughly 20% of all police homicides every year. But then for all the homicides that black people, are part of, I don't have the numbers. Let me not even do that. I'll pull up something. Instead of looking to unite people against the true evils of this world during a time where things were already crazy during COVID-19, it's people, and I'm saying people very loosely here. I don't think she's a person. This thing named Maxine Waters, fucking vile, nasty thing. Ugh. Alright, it's people like Maxine Waters. Ugh. And I'm not putting this eloquently. She was insinuating for people to take to the streets and cause havoc, and by riling up emotions of people who can't think for themselves. But just going into areas and just causing havoc, and which they definitely did during the George Floyd protests. Shops and storefronts burned down. I remember seeing a video, and this is awful. I believe he was a retired cop who was shot by looters for trying to stop the looters. Some guy was recording, and I watched the dude just bleed out, this old man, because he was trying to do the right thing. These are the type of people that do not need any reason to cause destruction. And Maxine Waters was calling all this pretty much justice for George Floyd. And I believe around that time, that's when I started paying a bit more attention to politics, because I truly was under the assumption, I should say, people had common sense and they thought rationally. Especially when the facts were brought to them, or I should say presented to them on certain issues. But it seems like this is a foreign concept for certain individuals. Not all, certain individuals. And I can't even say this is just only black people. This is just, seems like everybody, or a lot of people on the left. It's funny. But man, 2020, life before 2020 was great compared to what came after. When the first time Donald Trump became president, I didn't feel any type of way about safety. It was only when Biden became president that's when all hell broke loose. Oh man. Time before 2020, things weren't all gay. Apparently to women, men are all awful. Black people are victims. This is not all what women think, but just this is what people have been saying. Black people are victims and oppressed. Like, yeah, okay, fuck off. And women are oppressed. Oh, there's still a gender pay gap. Like, no, there's no pay gap. It's been illegal for quite some time now. The gays are getting into everything, even though it's like 1% of our population. Even when a new game or movie comes out, I'm always skeptical on whether or not it's going to be woke, and that feeling alone is awful. Like, I truly used to look forward to going to the movies and playing different types of games, but now I really have to research the game before I waste my money, because I don't return games that often, and yeah, it's just not fun. A section here for ICE protests, but I'm not getting into that. I'm all for re-migration of those who have no allegiance to America, and just, yeah, fuck them. Fuck all the ICE protesters, by the way. Do these people truly believe any political leaders care about their lives? And when I say care about their lives, I mean just a civilian or just any protester. Like, they do not care. They never did, and they never will. They won't even have known you've existed until you die. And then an inauthentic protest is done in your honor, or I should say your favor. And I use honor loosely here because it's all one scheme. So what's the point? It's a bit heartbreaking to hear that these things happen more than not. And I say a bit heartbreaking because in most cases, the person who died did it to themselves, and they cannot get mad at Darwin's award. They've earned it. So yeah,